Long, clean divot lines, worn out 7-irons, and dirty white towels are worn like badges of honor in the golf community. I took pride in those things for well over a decade. I would hit thousands of balls year round in an effort to wear out my irons and say that I was practicing the hardest when my efforts didn't seem to be matching up with the results. Mark Broadie from Colombia analyzed over 40 million shots on the PGA Tour over a full decade. Among the top 40 pros, approach shots accounted for 40% of their scoring edge, driving was 28%, short game was 17%, and putting was 15%. That hierarchy holds true for amateurs at every level, but most of us don't practice in a way that reflects it. Today, I'll show you the practice mistake I made for over 10 years, the 4 ways it shows up in most amateur practice sessions, and a comprehensive 59-minute practice plan, so if you only have an hour a week to practice, you can get the most out of it. I'll be referencing that 59-minute practice plan a lot throughout this video. It's free, it's down below in the description. While you're down there, you can check out the Play Ready Golf app built on all this research, and there you can start a 7-day free trial. Let's talk about what that decade actually looked like for me. The biggest mistake that I made, and the biggest mistake I see every other amateur make, is the practice structure mistake. Before we jump into the 4 ways that practice structure mistake shows up, I do want to say that volume matters for growth at every single stage. What we're talking about today is how to get the most out of the volume that you have available. The first big practice structure mistake is that we allocate our time to the wrong things. This can come from a misunderstanding of our own data, a misunderstanding of data in general, or just not really knowing what we're supposed to work on. Think through the last time you went and practiced for an hour and allocate it by category. So driver or slash off the tee, approach, chipping, and putting. Now compare it to the Mark Broadie data, where we're at 24 minutes on approach, 16 minutes on tee shots, 10 minutes around the green, and 9 minutes on putting. Now let's say your practice time looks exactly like that. First of all, great job, unbelievable. But second off, we need to take a look at how you're spending those blocks. Most golfers spend the majority of that time working on block practice as opposed to random practice. This is a problem at its core because golf is a game of pulling the shot off right the first time, not the second time or the third time or the 10th time. And block practice is great for building a swing or building a motion, but random practice is what you have to have in order to test it. There have been countless studies done on this in a ton of different disciplines where random practice produces best long-term learning results. If you can hit a 7-iron 50 times in a row to the same target, it's not really that impressive because the second that you hit the second shot, it's a shot that doesn't show up on the golf course unless you hit it out of bounds or hit it in the water. The third practice structure mistake is no time for warm-ups or working on your setup or alignment or anything like that. You just get straight into it. When I say warm-up, I'm both talking about physically, like getting your body loose, but I'm also talking about warming up your setup because setup can change every single day depending on how you're feeling, and we need some way to calibrate. So laying down alignment sticks, making sure that our feet are where they're supposed to be, our hands are where they're supposed to be, the club face is where it's supposed to be. These are all little pieces that only take a couple minutes, but the overwhelming majority of golfers skip it. And really they skip it because they don't know what they're supposed to be looking for, what they're supposed to be doing. The easiest way to do this is just pay attention to it. Lay down an alignment stick, pay attention to where the ball is when you're hitting it really well or when you're not hitting it so well. And then just take simple notes so that when you do get to the golf course 2 weeks from now and you've been practicing this for a little bit, you're gonna have a much better understanding of where you're supposed to be and you're gonna be able to calibrate against it. The fourth mistake, and I fell into this as well, is practicing the same drill at the same difficulty forever. We're not going to get any better. It's like lifting the same weight over and over and over again every single week at the gym and expecting to get stronger. At some point, you've got to push yourself to get better. This even adds that little bit of pressure so you're more comfortable coming down the 18th with all your buddies sitting around the green. In that 59-minute practice plan, you'll see 3 levels: working, solid, and stretch. You start at the working level, work up to solid, and then all the way up to stretch. And you can base this around the handicap groups that are in that plan. We start off with approach play at the driving range, then we're going to work into off the tee, then we're going to go chip, and then we're going to go putt. Approach play is going to be 24 minutes, and we're going to use that first 6 minutes to just work on calibration. So getting the body warmed up and working on setup and tempo. Then for the next 18 minutes, we're going to move into a wedge matrix drill. Now, this drill is specifically designed around where most amateur golfers lose most strokes, which is with those 4 shortest clubs. So we're going to pick out those 4 shortest clubs in our bag. For me, I've got 4 wedges. If for you it gets up to an 8-iron, whatever it is, it's got to be the 4 shortest clubs. We're going to play 3 shots with each one of those clubs, going through our full routine, picking out a very specific target. We're going to hit a stock shot. We're going to hit a shot that takes 10 yards off that stock distance and 20 yards off that stock distance. You can randomize this simply just in ChatGPT. What you'll see on there is different levels of completed reps. So for a 20 handicap, we're trying to hit it within 30 feet, and that baseline goal is to get 4 out of 12, whereas for a scratch golfer, we're trying to get it within 15 feet. And once you hit a goal 2 times in a row, then you can move on to the next level. Off the tee is the next 16 minutes. We're going to spend the first 4 minutes on that calibration zone. Then we're going to move into a drill called hazard avoidance. For a 20 handicap, we want a 50-yard wide fairway. For a 10 handicap, we want a 40-yard wide fairway. And for a scratch golfer, we want a 30-yard wide fairway. If you don't know what that looks like on your driving range, just hop on Google Maps and you can map it out very, very simply. We're going to pick out one side as the hazard zone, and every 3 shots, we're going to alternate which side is the hazard. I also like alternating clubs if I've got the time, so I'll switch between driver and 3-wood or driver 3-wood and 7-wood. This drill is based on a point system, so you get a point if you hit the fairway, 0 points if you miss in the rough side, and -2 if you miss on the hazard side. The goal is 0 points as the baseline, all the way up to +8 as the stretch goal. Now we're going to move into chipping or around the green, which is going to be 10 minutes. We're going to spend those first 2 minutes getting calibrated. Once again, just really working on contact, and you can see I laid down my putter here just to work on alignment. The random drill for chipping is called first ball scorecard. We're going to hit 8 chips from random spots to one target. The goal is to get it within certain distances, and then if you have time, go putt it out. I think that actually really helps with this drill because it helps reframe how good or bad these chips were. Once again, this is a point-based game, so you're trying to get it within a certain distance. If you don't get it within that distance, you get 0 points, and if you get it outside of the wide distance, you get -1 point. Finally, we've got putting. We're going to spend 9 total minutes on this. The first 2 minutes are calibration. Find a tool that you can use in your office or at home and out on the green. I like this Y golf putting thing. It's awesome with a little bit of a mirror. Then we're going to move into one of my favorite drills to do, which is the long short alternator. So we're going to hit a 6-foot putt and a 30-foot putt to the same hole. Hit the 6-footer first so you don't get a read off of the 30-footer. The goal is to make the 6-footer and to get the 30-footer within a certain lag circle based on your handicap. So 20 handicap is going to be 6 feet, 10 handicap is going to be 5, and a scratch golfer is going to be within 4. This drill does a great job of getting me in the mode to make putts that I think are supposed to be makeable and getting me in the mode of trying to just lag one up there when I don't need to try to jam one home. You absolutely can and will get better just running this 59-minute practice plan over and over and over again. But if you want to know how to make a customized practice plan to your skills, time, and facilities available, watch this video right here.